Thank you all for joining our official quarterly Q1 80 Think Tank meeting. And we know some of you were on the call last summer. And then we had our in-person event at the NADC, but we're really excited to hold this meeting and to be consistent with these types of meetings and updates and information, because there's a lot going on and it's super exciting. And we want to make sure that you have all the up-to-date info that you need, and that you're part of this growth and journey that we're going to discuss today. So again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy days. You will get a recording of this after the call. Yeah, I'm going to be sort of navigating here. We're very excited to have a couple key speakers today to provide some really valuable insight and information about NIL. But first, I'm gonna toss it over to Alec, and we'll get going.
Yeah, just to echo what Abby said, thanks everybody for being here. We really appreciate you signing up for this meeting, taking some time out during your workday, and all of your efforts throughout the last year as Think Tank members. We're excited about some announcements today. I'm going to quickly run you through the agenda, and then we'll get going. So big news for us is that we have some new team members to the K12 family to announce, and we'll do that shortly. It's just been Abby and I rolling with this thing for quite a while, so it's very exciting for us to be able to announce some new team members. We're going to talk about some of the metrics of the think tank and how the group has grown over the last year. We've got some general updates for you, including some new project announcements. We're going to be doing a raffle halfway through, and then we're going to be discussing some new initiatives that we're going to kick off in the next few quarters, followed by some guest speakers. As Abby mentioned, we're super excited about our guest speakers who will be talking about NIL and recruiting today. We'll formally introduce them later in the presentation, and then just end with some next steps. All right, so as I mentioned, super excited to announce some new team members. The first one has been with us for a few months now. If you've been reading our emails and some of the communications we've been putting out, he's probably behind it. He's also going to introduce a new customer success initiative in the next few slides. Has a communications master from Northwestern University, and has spent about 15 years in the tech space, working for Google and other companies in customer success, and that's Pete Emerson. So Pete, if you're there, you want to say a quick hello?
Yeah, I am here. Hey, everybody. Great to see, as Abby said, a lot of familiar faces. Had the privilege to meet many of you at the NADC, and I'm getting to know you, following that event and just some of the day-to-day stuff. So really excited to be participating today and just in general with K12. So if I haven't met you yet, looking forward to doing that in the coming weeks and months.
Awesome. And so our other team member, Sydney Scarbeck, she is a senior at St. Mary's College, which if any of you are big time Notre Dame fans like myself, it is the college right next to Notre Dame, sister school, tons of collaboration between Notre Dame and St. Mary's. So I was actually introduced to her through her marketing professor that was singing her praises and asked if we had anything available. She's been an incredibly valuable contributor thus far. She's been putting more consistent social media presence in place for K12. That's been one of the things that's occupied a lot of her time recently. But she formed a pickleball club at St. Mary's. She's got some great experience in marketing as well, and so we're really excited to have her as part of the team. Sydney, are you there? You want to say a quick hi?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Abby, thank you for the introduction. And yeah, excited to be here, be a part of the team, and kind of see the future with K12.
Sydney also played soccer at St. Mary's, so she gets it. All right, Alec, back to you.
All right. So if you were with us in Austin at the NADC, or if you've talked to any of us recently, I think probably the thing we've talked about the most is the growth of the think tank and just how happy we have been with everybody's participation and everybody's willingness to refer their networks to come in and join what we're building as well. So we're super happy to announce that we are almost to 500 members. Want to be there by the end of this week or next week. To put it into perspective for you, we had our first think tank member sign up in February of 2024.
And he's
So
on
to
this
be at
call.
500, I'm
I
sorry,
thought
Abby.
he's on this call, by the way. Darren Howard. Hey, Darren,
Darren,
our
thank
official.
you. Started the whole thing.
Yeah.
And to be at almost 500 in just a little over a year is really amazing. And it could not have been done without referrals. 95% of the think tank has been built on referrals. Since Pete's been a part of the team, we've been putting out some emails and attracting some people in some different ways. But primarily, it's been all through referrals. And it's just been really impressive to see how everyone's believed in this work and believed in improving the industry as a whole and wanted to get others involved. So on that note, we are continuing to seek referrals. We want to get to 500, but we also want to more than double that this year. So we have big goals in terms of growing the think tank. So as a little bonus, we are going to add some additional referral compensation for next week only. So normally referrals are $20 per referral. They're going to be 30 for next week. So if you have people in mind to join the group, please refer them. You can log into your dashboard and see how to refer people, or you can just reach out to me and ask if you're unsure. But we are going to do that bonus for next week in second week of March. We're also in almost every single state, which is impressive. I've been telling people 35, 40. I've been kind of guessing for a while, and Sydney was nice enough to help me come up with the actual figures. So we are in 44 states currently. We really want to fill these up. We want to be able to say that we have representation in every state. So if you know people in New Hampshire, Delaware, Mississippi, North Dakota, Idaho, and Hawaii, please make sure to refer them to the group. Keep your referrals coming from anywhere, but these states especially, we would love to have representation there so we can say that we're in every state. And then we're going to be adding a referral competition to the mix in the next week or so, and we'll send out information on this. But the idea here is to pit some states against each other. So we're in state association conference season, and I know ADs are competitive and mostly former coaches or former athletes. So I think that this will resonate. But we want to see which state can have the highest percentage of growth over the next few months. So be on the lookout for a referral competition. Details on that coming your way via email in the next week or so.
And real quick on that, referring is super easy. It's just an email to me and Alec, and you can, like, some ADs have BCC'd a bunch of people and just shared some general info and CC me and Alec. And then just let us know who you sent it to, and we can do the follow-up. So it can truly take like 2 minutes to do. So thank you guys so much. Pete, I think you are gonna talk a little bit about the one-day download. Yeah.
Yeah. So first off, on the general updates, everybody on this call probably should have seen I think we just hit a month somehow. It's been flying by, but we've sent 4 of our new initiative Monday download emails coming out every Monday morning or early afternoon, depending on the day. We're getting consistent with morning time, though. So the idea behind it is just to be kind of, in one fell swoop, bring you up to speed on everything going on with K12, not only active projects, but also, especially new projects that are kicking off that maybe we haven't been able to announce yet. Look for those at the top of that email. Also, really just a compendium of everything else that we have going. So, we're including surveys just to, gather or solicit additional feedback from our valuable members on a weekly basis, kind of help us keep additional tabs on kind of what's on your mind and what's going on out in the real world for you all. Tips and tricks and other things. Also, we're promoting our blog when we have new blog posts or just any news from K12. You can count on it being there on Monday to kind of set you up for the week and make you aware of anything that we may have happening, including meetings like this or other exciting opportunities for you to participate. So appreciate the feedback. As I said, we've had a couple of surveys and polls in that email. The feedback's been amazing. Really continuing to sort of broaden our community through that vehicle of the Monday download. So keep your eyes peeled and feel free to weigh in not only with polls, but if you want to directly respond to us there, we'll see that and we'll read them carefully and take into account any feedback you have. So looking forward to keeping that rolling.
Cool. Sydney, can you tell us a little bit about the social calendar?
Yeah, so I've kind of been in charge of consistently posting regular posts that's on LinkedIn and X, and really just trying to increase awareness for ADs and vendors. And some of our topics are like the AD Spotlight, which you can see on the left, industry insights, events, and then we're going to be soon doing vendor highlights as well. So exciting stuff, and it's been pretty cool seeing our followers increase and kind of getting leads through there.
Cool.
Yeah, and I can get into the rest. So one thing we're very excited about in terms of new projects is one that just came through about 10 minutes before this meeting started, so we couldn't even get it on the slides. But we're going to be announcing probably in the next Monday download an opportunity to engage with WSN Live, Worldwide Streaming Network Live, as an AD engagement project, which is super exciting for a couple of reasons. One, we think it's a really cool company with an innovative solution. And 2, it came from a think tank member Intro. So Bob Ray, if you're in the crowd, thank you so much. So this is a company that he was familiar with, he had been using, he had believed in, and he introed them to us. And we took it from there and are very excited to work with them. These other projects you may have seen already, but just in case you haven't, we recently, in the last 2 weeks, started to work with Height EQ, which is a mental performance tool for student athletes. We've had about 10 AD meetings with them already. It's really received some positive feedback on the tool, but also some constructive things that Height can change to improve their solution for ADs. So we're happy to see that. We've been working with Omilla, as most of you know, for a long time, but we recently introduced a pilot program with them where you can actually be compensated for piloting their tool on either a fundraiser or some kind of ticketed event like a prom or a sports banquet. A lot of people have taken advantage of that. A lot of people have really enjoyed it and started to use the tool for other things. But there are still pilot slots available. So you can sign up for that if you're interested. And then we've been doing AD engagement meetings with digital scoreboards and helmet tracker for about the last month. Those have been really successful as well. Still looking for people to participate if you haven't signed up for those already. And then probably our longest running AD engagement client right now is Rank 1. And that's been really successful as well. But again, if you haven't done that project yet and are interested, please make sure to sign up. We are also hosting a webinar with Omilla next week. I believe it's going to be on Tuesday, the 11th. We'll get some info out on that right away. But if you are interested in more information on Omilla, make sure to check that out. We have partnered with Jake Von Scheer from the Educational AD podcast. Jake, if you're on this call, big shout out. Thank you for doing this with us. We have a Think Tank Thursday podcast coming out every week. We've been doing it for about 10 weeks now and plan to continue. It's an awesome opportunity to spotlight Think Tank members, for you to have a chance to speak about your background, current projects that you're working on, as well as your experience in the think tank, and to jump on the call with either myself or Abby, for most of them, has been really neat and just an awesome experience overall for us to be able to kind of get the message out in that way. And then my last announcement is something that most of you are probably aware of already, and I've reached out to just about everybody. But if you're one of the original think tank members, you know that we spent some time in our first few months paying everyone via Zelle or Venmo. We're making a transition now to direct deposit. A lot of you have already signed up to do this. It's a pretty easy process to sign up, and it makes just everything more secure and easier for us to track overall. If you haven't done this already, I will be reaching out to do it. We really want to get everybody on board for this in the next coming months, so that payments are just easier to manage as we start to do more and more projects. And with that, that concludes our general updates.
All right. So first raffle, $50 to Amazon. So that's what we're giving. We were thinking about some sports tech related things, and we thought this was just easy. Amazon gift cards, everyone uses them. So this is a poll question that that Pete sent in the Monday download recently. We know many of you have a million things that you're juggling on a given basis, on each day. So we want to hear from you about what is some of your top concerns. So I'm just going to launch. We have a poll that I'm going to launch right here, and then we're going to choose someone from that answers the poll. We're going to choose them for the raffle. So take a look at this question, or we'll give you, a minute or so. Just let us know, what is really, what's on your mind. We need like some Jeopardy music or something. We didn't think ahead enough for that. These answers are in no particular order. Give you another 20 seconds or so. Nice. Okay. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna go to results here. And actually I'm gonna ask Sydney to select our winner. So you can, yeah, it looks like we have full participation. So that's awesome.
Sydney could be the only completely unbiased.
Yeah, because she knows none of you.
Yeah.
let's see, I'm gonna end the poll. We're gonna share the results. So pretty interesting. Yeah, well, Sydney's choosing. So retaining coaches, that's a huge one. Budget constraints is a big one. Building a great culture, it's a big one. Yeah. Parents. We just put parents in there, and I think we all know what we mean by that. So, all right. And just a reminder, Alec, I can't navigate away from this page. So, Sydney, why don't you give the winner to Alec and we'll announce it.
Abby, I don't think Sydney can see the people.
All right, I'm
Can you?
gonna stop sharing them all so I can share. All right, I'm gonna scroll down the list and I'm just gonna choose randomly. Wherever my cursor is on. John Krogstrand. Where is he? Congrats, John. $50 coming
Thank you.
way.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, you have to at least vocally acknowledge that we're doing this. All right, cool. Moving on. Sweet. Okay, so this program, we're super excited about it. As many of you know, when I spoke to you or Alex spoke to you about why we founded K12, why we're doing the work that we're doing with the think tank, part of the mission is to help athletic directors manage their various athletic technology solutions and manage their tech suite. And it's really difficult. There's no true customer success program in the space. So what I mean by customer success is, helping you optimize the tech that you purchase and that you use and that your coaches use. So driving adoption, making sure that bugs are taken care of quickly, that, but also more importantly, that there's proactive steps by your vendors to address the needs and the evolving needs of your department. So, so we're launching this program. We're trying to kind of solve for that challenge, both for ADs and for companies, trying to collect that feedback. But it's really difficult to do since you are all extremely busy. We've heard the trend, or the comment, we need a one-stop shop. Well, if we don't get there, how do we help you manage all of your solutions without taking a ton of time with one-off conversations with your tech providers? So that's what we're trying to accomplish through the customer success program. But I'll let Pete explain a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks, Abby. So I think Alec alluded to this in the intro for me, but I've got about, my background is about 15 years or so in the general tech space, primarily in the customer success discipline. So as Abby said, really working as kind of a main point of contact for customers of, various tools that I represented to make sure that they're, seeing value from the products they're relying on, and are able to share feedback and really partner with us as an advocate to help you, see success with those tools that you're using. So I know many of you have already raised your hand to participate in this effort that we're actively launching right now. We are pretty blown away by the level of interest and super excited about it. So we are actively working on kind of immediate next steps. So you can keep your eyes peeled, in the next week or so for kind of an initial next step for those of you who will be participating directly in sort of this phase one effort. And, again, we're just super excited to partner with you as we kind of build this and really work closely kind of one-on-one with you to, really like Abby said, a little bit kind of do what we can to help you optimize your tech landscape. I mean, juggling multiple tools, across, multiple touch points is very difficult. So, we're optimistic that we can, help streamline that and ideally eventually become a little bit of a voice and an advocate for you so that, you're able to see some positive momentum and, really ensure that you are seeing the value out of the many tools that you're spending hard-earned dollars to procure. So again, big picture, more to come soon, but really excited to be kicking this off with you all. And we'll talk about it in more detail very soon.
Awesome. Okay. So this new initiative is near and dear to my heart. It's super exciting. Our Emerging Innovators program. We have been approached by multiple companies that have a super fun, impactful, innovative solution, but are unsure about how to navigate, how to enter the school athletic space or how to grow. And they may be a little more strapped in terms of resources. And we want to provide a path to impact for those types of companies that, we have. Like our programs now are, some of them are pretty heavy in terms of time and lift for our vendors, but also, can be costly. And so we offer reduced costs for these companies. And again, just trying to remove some of those barriers. I think everyone on this call knows that it's an amazing space to be in, school athletics, but it's also really difficult to understand. There's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of potential barriers, especially for companies that are, again, a little bit leaner than our some of our other companies and vendor partners. So what it also does is it introduce some really promising innovative tools and mission forward people to the think tank, and it takes the cost off the table, or not completely, but it reduces the cost and it reduces the barriers to access for them. So super excited about this. We are going to be asking for, if anyone comes to mind, and it can be a consultant, it can be a small company, but any companies that you think would benefit from working with K12 and the think tank, that can make a big impact in the space, but there might be some barriers to growth, please let us know. So we're going to put a question in the chat for you to recommend some people. So just start thinking about that. On a similar subject, this new initiative, we've had these companies or these individuals come to us, really love what we're doing, love the mission, want to be involved, but aren't necessarily a SaaS solution. So software as a service, they're not a typical, sports tech company. But they have some great value to offer. So it might be hard goods. For example, we had a company reach out. They provide a heat detecting mouth guard to prevent for heat safety for athletes, especially football players and doing two-a-days and things like that. So it detects when your oral temperature is too high and they make them sit. So things like that. There's companies that have really cool products, but it's not.
Abby, shout out to Kara Carlin on that one for the intro.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kara. Many of them have been referred by you, which has been incredible. So we're trying to provide create some programs that give them a path to working with us. So through some product pilots where you would get the product and you would test it and provide feedback. And then also through a trusted resource partners program, which, Positive Coaching Alliance is our largest trusted resource partner, where they have a lot of valuable content and educational tools and programs and workshops to provide. But speakers, consultants, experts, nonprofits, a lot of you know better than we do who can provide some impact for other programs in the space. So we're really excited to be launching these programs. Again, just wheels turning, I hope, for some of you about who might be interested, what companies might be interested in doing something like this with us. And lastly, the vendor membership. Oh, a little bit of a typo there. It's totally fine. We're still a small company ourselves. So vendor membership directory. I think many of you know at this point that we are building a database of companies that it's going to be the go-to place we want it to be the go-to place for athletic administrators and some coaches to go and to find solutions for their department. But on those vendor profiles, there's going to be key information that we know based on lots of calls and based on our experience in the space that we know is really most valuable for you to see and to understand. One of those things is reviews and ratings, which is nowhere to be found in school athletics technology. Like Google ratings and things like that, non-existent. So we want a place where you can provide feedback and others can learn from your own experiences, and you can share your own feedback on that solution. So the state association directory, I'll talk really quickly on that. We also want a database of state associations so that they're easily accessible and for vendors to see and for vendors to potentially sponsor or sign up to exhibit. So it's one other path to vendors finding state association information and sponsorship and exhibiting info, hopefully to boost awareness for state associations and help boost participation in some of those events that the state associations host. It's also helpful for vendors because as a vendor in the space, I don't know, you have to go to a million different places to see when these state conferences are happening, what the benefits are, how many attendees, et cetera. So we're trying to consolidate all that into one place. And then again, with the vendor membership directory and all these programs, the most valuable, we want to start with your recommendations, but ideally we would be working only with your recommendations for companies to work with. We are super focused on growing our network on the vendor side with companies and providers and people that are true supporters of what you're doing and of the student athlete experience. So more referrals would be awesome. A quick reminder, if you do refer a vendor, and that's same thing through as referring an AD, it's just an intro email to us and your point person with that company. If they come on you get $30 for that. If they come on as a K12 vendor partner or client, there's actually a rev share in our fees. So something to keep in mind.
All right. And last but not least, in terms of new initiatives, is something that we've teased for a little while, but we're finally ready to roll it out. We're going to be introducing different tiers or different think tank membership levels. If you've logged in to your profile recently, you may have seen a badge next to your name. The gray badge at the top stands for starter member, and the blue badge at the top stands for advanced member. I think most people on the call are probably advanced members, but let me explain it now. Starter members are for those ADs that create accounts with us, but then they don't have the time or the interest in doing onboard meetings or doing those advanced level consulting projects. They have participated in survey-based projects with us, and that's really what they're comfortable doing, which is totally fine. So those are our starter members. Our advanced level members are most of our ADs right now. Those are the ADs that after they create their account with us, they have an onboarding meeting, most of the time with me, where we kind of get to put a name to a face, get to know each other, and discuss, some of your interests in participating and go from there. Advanced level members qualify for just about all of our projects, AD engagement, which are the one-on-one calls with clients, ambassador programs, and pilot programs, as well as those survey-based projects. What we're going to be introducing now in the next week, probably in the next Monday download, is 2 additional levels. Champion level members, that's your gold badge, and state lead level members, that's your maroon badge. Champion level members are members with a little bit more experience with think tank projects, and those that are interested on taking on a little bit more responsibility. So to be a champion level member, you have to complete an interest form. There's a link here below, and we'll also send that out in some emails. But you also have to have participated in at least 3 think tank projects and have referred at least 3 other ADs to the think tank. Once you have done that, you qualify for champion level members, to be a champion level member. You are eligible for all the projects that we have. Plus, we're going to be looking for some additional help from champion level members. Everybody knows that we conduct onboarding calls with all our think tank members, who are interested in becoming advanced level. And we're usually on all of the client calls that we host with our ADs. It's becoming a little challenging to do that with a very small team. So we're looking for help from some ADs to be compensated to help us with those 2 things. And that will be something you're eligible for if you're interested in becoming champion level. It just involves a quick onboarding, and we take it from there. So if you sign up with an interest to become a champion level member, I will reach out about those, additional compensation and additional responsibility shortly after you sign up. And then state lead is the last level that we're very excited about. And this is going to be kind of a slow rollout for us. We're not going to start with every state. We're going to probably start with just a couple and take it from there. And there'll be some trial and error involved. But we are looking for people to kind of collaborate with us and help us scale within their state in terms of adding think tank members from their state and creating local vendor partnerships from within their state. This may be ADs with experience at the state association level themselves, or just really go-getters who just want to be more involved. Again, you have to complete an interest form to do this. You have to be eligible for that champion level as well. And then Abby and I are going to kind of pick the people that we think should start this initiative and host onboarding meetings with them. So those are our 4 membership levels. When you see the emails from us, please check out the interest form and sign up if you're interested in advancing into champion or state lead, and then I'll follow up with you from there. All right, and then so we're nearing our guest speakers. Abby and I are almost done speaking, we promise. But I want to refer back to the poll question that we asked in the beginning. It was what's keeping you up at night? And we actually asked this question initially in our Monday download this week, and we got a really good answer that segues really well into our guest speakers for today. So I want to read this to you just before Abby introduces our guest speakers. So this says, our state is changing the transfer rules for student athletes. Retention of our current student athletes is occupying a lot of my thoughts. Are we doing enough? What needs to change? Who needs changed? Do we have the right leaders and coaches in place? Are we treating each team the same? Are they getting enough of my attention? Along with that, how are we perceived to potential transfer students? Is the outsider's perception aligned with how we view our program? I'm guessing a lot of you can relate to this, and it kind of relates to the changing landscape in both college and eventually high school athletics in terms of transfers and benefits and things like that. So they're very relevant topics to all of you, regardless of your program size or where you come from. So I'm gonna kick it off to Abby now, who will introduce our guest speakers to talk more on these topics.
Awesome. So quick note, I threw a question in the chat. Just as you think of it, put companies in there that you think we should reach out to, that you think we should look a little bit deeper into their solution to potentially working with us and with you all. I'm getting a couple direct messages. You can just throw them in the everyone chat as well. So yeah. Okay, so we're super excited today to have George Hemmingsen on. George is super knowledgeable about this space, the NIL world, both at the professional, collegiate, and high school level. He was the VP of Sports Standards for All Athlete, which is a recruiting platform for student athletes. And he's just done a ton of work in this space. Joe Bronchello is the one that brought our attention to George, and Joe's a think tank member. And with all of the changes in the state rules, that along with these different challenges, these modern challenges for athletic directors and coaches to retaining athletes and doing what they can, equipping their program in a way that helps them keep those programs growing and doing great. So George is going to speak on that today, and he's joined by Mike Walker, who's head basketball coach at Lloyd Memorial High School. Super knowledgeable. He's also a parent of a basketball player who went through the NIL process, and so we're super excited to have both of you on. And finally, we are going to shut up and pass it on to the real reason why everyone's here. So George, and the raffle,
Awesome.
the second raffle at the end of the slide event.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Abby. Thank you, Alec, for having us. Mike, thanks for jumping on. Nice to meet everybody. Yeah, really grateful to be on this call. Yeah, as we all know, the NIL world is the wild, wild west. And, just a little bit on my background, I'm a longtime high school and college coach for over a decade. Now I reside here in Indiana, and then got to start All Athlete, which is a free recruiting platform that helps educate parents and kids on the recruiting process. So that goal is, how do we bring more people to the table, and how do we educate them on that process? So on that side of things, we have all sports we work with. We work with over 5,000 coaches of all sports. So, that's something that if you're ever interested, I'd love to talk to you, how we can educate you guys more on that. Mike Walker and his son, EJ, was with it, helped EJ get to the University of South Carolina in that process. But kind of what we're, the main topic is the NIL side of things. And I do that. I'm on the NIL side, on the college professional side now. And as we were talking, I was talking to Joe Bronchello, Center Grove AD. He was asking me some questions because Indiana just got a new transfer rule where it's basically a freelance transfer. You basically can transfer at each semester to a new school. And I told Joe, and I've been thinking about this for a while. I mean, college ADs don't even know what to do in the NIL world. They got collectives. collectives don't know how to talk to the ADs. There's a lot of moving parts to this, but I was like, as we talked, I think high school ADs have to start maybe encouraging them to start thinking as college ADs, because that is starting to trickle down into the high school realm. And I believe there's about 28 states that allow NIL. And I talking to some of my high school friends, ADs, they just don't want to deal with it right now because they don't know how to go about it. But it's also going to open the Pandora's box about it. But I think the more we can educate and get ahead of it with high school ADs educating the parents, I think it can, we can put our arms around it rather than what it's like out in the college and professional world right now. So, I think that's the biggest thing. How do we educate more? How do we make this process easier? And I don't think it's ever going to get easier, but if we can find a way to put guardrails around you guys at the high school level, which this is moving into and thinking as a college AD, I think more will come up. And Mike, I know, Mike and I became close friends. In Kentucky, they have NIL at this moment. Mike, when this passed last year, can you kind of explain how your school took approach to it and like kind of where it is now, and use a couple of examples with EJ and other athletes that you know about in the Kentucky area?
Yeah, so they passed that law, I think it was around the end of June or July last summer. And pretty much the rules is they can go get NIL money from any company. They can go to a car dealership, pizza place, whatever they choose, to get the best bang for their buck. But the only rule they really have is that any athlete is not allowed to do any NIL deals on their campus or wear anything with the school name or logo on it. So, for instance, my son, EJ, we have several NIL deals for him. He's currently a senior here playing with him and small businesses around here. And then we have one at a local gym that he trains at for speed and strength training. And so any videos or any newspaper articles or anything to do with him promoting whatever that business is, he normally just wears his own brand logo, which we got for him also. He has his own clothing brand. He wears that, or he will wear the company, for instance, like Neville's Fitness. He'll wear his Neville's Fitness shirt in that space during that time. I know about 8 or 9 other high school athletes in the state of Kentucky that have other NIL deals. Our AD basically just sat us down and basically went over the rules with us, and just gave us free reign as long as we just didn't break the rules in terms of if it has the Lloyd Memorial logo or name on it. I thought it was kind of beneficial for EJ and for me as his father and his coach, because we kind of got a early understanding of how it's going to be at the next level when he goes to South Carolina. So I think that's also a positive in that area in terms of you're kind of ahead of the game before you even step on campus or even negotiate your NIL contract going to whatever sport or whatever school you choose to. And there's no percentage of one kid can get this percentage, one kid can get that percentage. It's free reign for any athlete in high school right now in the state of Kentucky.
Yeah. And Mike, I think that you hit a key point is like you've been navigating this on your own. I know you and I have had a lot of conversations on this, and I think that's where the big downfall is, because no one wants to tackle this right now. And I mean, being a high school AD, I probably wouldn't want to do it either. But I think if we can change our mindset, in getting and educating, I keep saying educating this process, like you said, Mike, EJ is going to be already ready for South Carolina when they start talking NIL. Getting that. And NIL, it's just not a Division I level. It's all through down to JUCO now, which we're learning about on things like that. So, I think that's the biggest thing. And in a sense, each of you already have booster clubs, per sport, per athletic program. But I think in a way too, is like maybe start transitioning that into head of collectives. How are we learning to teach them on the process on that? And every school is going to be different. And I guess that's where it's just more like Mike and I were talking just last night. It's the unknown, and that's okay. But I think more conversations we have with this within a group, the better. And there's articles I sent Abby and Alec that about recruiting articles that please, if you would like them to share, just talks about how to build a film, give film to your kids, the NIL space, the NCAA eligibility center, articles and tools to take pressure off you and also take pressure off your coaches and also put it back into your athletes' hands. And I think that's the biggest thing. And that's where Mike's done a good job, where he's made EJ accountable and his players on things like that to help this process. And one question I do have for you, Mike, do you think, you have a booster club, you basically run your booster club. Would it help you to have another, the education side of it, them knowing about the NIL, where you could bring your kids in and talk about that to educate them, hey, this is coming down the line. We have it, but also preparing you for the high college level?
Yeah, for sure. I pretty much, here at Little Memorial, we're a small inner city school. So we don't have a booster club. I do all the fundraising and all the NCAA acknowledgement and education for my parents on my own, and me and my staff do. So if we had someone that we could go to provide that information about, NIL, along with the NCAA ruling with NIL, I think it'll help us out in a tremendous way, especially for these athletes. Also, on the other side of it, of NIL, we made one-pagers for these kids in terms of go to these companies to talk. Now, outside of the money aspect, I think it's also beneficial for these athletes to go and do that because it helps them with their communication in terms of when they get older. So, if I want a job, I want, interviews, or, even talking to coaches or going through the recruitment process, now you have the experience to actually go and talk to people you don't know, which a lot of our student athletes don't do because all they do is text for the most part. But having that education support of NIL in high schools will be huge, just like a lot of high schools do with their guidance counselors, with the NCAA eligibility and things of that nature.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, Mike. And I think those one-sheeters were good. And I'll be happy to share those with Abby and Alec about the one-sheeters getting out to the community, that, just another valued resource, that is out there. Another thing too is, as just for example, I was talking to the University of San Diego's collective just last night. And right now, USD is a school that is one of the top schools in WCC, but none of their athletes get NIL. So they're just navigating this process now at one of the bigger schools in the country. He's like, so we're talking about how do we go about this? Who are they going to put in the front seat to run their collective? What businesses do they not need to start reaching out? What alumni do they need to start reaching out to? So I think there's some things like that we as high school ADs can kind of start, slowly shifting into that of maybe it is your booster club, but the education process, and how do we do that to get to prepare our student athletes, and also educate the parents on this side of things. Because I know things are going to change April 1st when the revenue collective kicks in. And that's going to be another wild west where schools can pick where they want to use the money. Either they give it out to football, out of their men's sports, or they divvy it up across the board. So, and I think that's the one thing that we're very blessed to have. And Mike knows that we're in the know of that. And we're lucky to have someone that gives us the heads up. Hey, this is coming down the pipeline. So we can share it with the coaches that we are working with, the athletes we're working with on the high school side, college side, and even on the AD side, just to let them start thinking about what is coming up. And as you know, I got to know Abby now. Mike and myself are here to help. If there's resources that we could help you or connect with college ADs or things like that, that would be great. I was talking to Abby, I would like to bring a couple of college ADs and maybe one of the USD at the collective onto one of your guys' call that he agreed to, where they could talk more about it, that they're in the trenches of it all more than I am, and I think that's more it is. It's a wild west, and it's okay to be unknown, but I think how do we put our arms around it more to, safeguard you as an athletic director and educate the parents and the coaches down that path. I know we're kind of running out of time, but if anybody does want to share have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to ask Mike and I.
while you guys are thinking of a question, if you have any, yeah, like George mentioned, that he shared a bunch of really helpful material with me and Alec, and we will be sharing that with you as well. We're, as I said, we're building our trusted resource partners, and George is going to be one of those. So, so we'll have some tangible info for you. And our goal is to continue to, through people like George and Mike, keep a line out to information that's coming down the pike about these types of challenges.
Yeah.
They're very real.
Yeah, no, they're real and they're coming. And, I know we got some time, but, please share my information. And the one thing I'll touch to on the all athlete side, and Mike, you can touch on this too, is this has helped Joe Brunkella at Center Groves too, is where everything lives in one space for you and your athletes. So if a coach comes out, calls and say, hey, Mike, I'm recruiting Mike Walker, you could just click a button, send everything there from his transcripts, his highlight videos, and lives in one spot right there. And on top of the NIL articles that are available, that's on the all athlete side. But Mike, can you just quickly talk about that process of us with EJ and just kind of, the pros that have helped, the organization and living in one spot for you, for EJ and your team?
Yeah. So, we got linked up with George and all athlete through a mutual friend when AJ was finished the summer going into his freshman year. So he was playing 15U AAU on the EYBL circuit. And then just the platform just made it easier to send to college coaches because everything was there. Everything from measurements of his height, his highlight videos, his grade point average, his transcripts, who he was playing AAU with, his AAU schedule, his high school schedule. It wasn't just like, it was basically his resume. That's basically what it is. And you can update that as, the growth happens, as, he or she grows, the measurements get bigger, the highlights or whatever the case may be, but it's all right there in that small little portfolio. And it's always like 2 clicks, you send it off, boom. And it was really beneficial for us because we condensed everything there. And then, once college coaches wanted it, we just sent it to them and they opened it and there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And we created it to be cost efficient and how we can bring more people to the table and educate on that process. So yeah, please, if anybody has any questions on either side of it, please reach out. We'd love to talk to you more. We're very grateful to join this call with you all. And I know it's a little short time, but I hope everybody got little pieces of nuggets and value from it.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. We do have a question for those that want to hop off, or that need to hop off. Tony Millard, you're the winner of the Amazon gift card, $100 for this one. And you can thank Sydney because we asked her to just randomly pick because she knows none of you. So, there is a question that I want to get to. Alec, can we just dive in really quickly to next steps, and then for those of you that can stay on, again, everyone's going to get this recording. So for those that can stay on, we're going to address John's question.
Yeah, for sure. Let me do next steps real quick. So everybody will be sent the recording. We also put together kind of a meeting summary sheet that has all the information from the call on one sheet. We'll send that out. We'll send a bunch of the info that George and Mike helped us out with. So you'll get that. We'll also send out the link. It's also right here in the deck. We'll send that the link to the champion and state lead membership levels interest form. If you fill that out, then I will follow up with you shortly after you do that. Reminder to refer your colleagues, and next week is bonus week. We'd love to have a big influx of referrals next week. And then a final reminder to introduce your vendors. And I saw a ton of vendors names in the chat, so we really, really appreciate that. And then the last thing I'll say is continue to please give us your feedback. I think Rob Seymour's on the call. He gave us a great idea about a week ago, which we're still working on. But as you see things that you think could make K12 run better, please don't hesitate to give us your feedback on that. We would really appreciate it. And with that, I'll turn it over to that question.
No, yeah, thanks for asking that question, John. That's a great one. Great question to ask. I think kind of what we can do, and I'm happy to talk with you offline about this too, is kind of what Mike Walker was saying about, there are high school kids leaving early to take the NIL money. And I think if you can create a plan with local businesses that you have to have that athlete reach out to personally. And we have one cheer that we used with EJ that he went out and got his own to keep them back home and feel that connection with those companies. I think that's a really, really good value and a way to attack it. There's some things that, are going to be out of control where schools are just going to offer money that can't do it. But I think if putting a plan in place with the local businesses that you guys can collectively come up with and have, start reaching out to keep them there rather than graduating early will be good. And that just follows along with your winter sports and prep schools, and that's something where it's already made and it's documented. It's just, are you comfortable utilizing your donors already that donate to your high school for the one-on-one, NIL that they could do personal one-on-one things with?
So my experience was, we had our situation is a little different because EJ's my son, but me and my wife gave him the opportunity, like, man, if you want to go to prep school, go to prep school. But I also think you as an AD, or if you're a coach, I'm not really sure, which avenue your title is, whatever prep school they're trying to go to, research that prep school. A lot of prep schools will say, X, Y, and Z will give you this, but that's not really the case when you get there. And in terms of, reclassifying, that's a big thing right now. I had a kid at my school who reclassified and left early. And you just got to kind of just research and ask them, the benefits. But I think if you start providing kids NIL now in high school, it can help prevent those kids from leaving, going to prep school, and then trying to come back to high school.
Great point, Mike.
Awesome. Super informative. Thank you both, George, Mike. Really, really appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a short window and it's the middle of the day. So tough to even really truly scratch the surface of this topic. But like we said, we're going to follow up with a lot of content material, and we're excited that George is going to be an ongoing resource. So we'll put his info in with those materials, and that's it. So thank you all so much for taking the time today, and we're so excited about the trajectory of K12 and the growth of the think tank, and it just means the world to us, everyone's involvement. So thank you, and let's get to 500. That's all I got.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks all.